What's up you guys, American? Welcome back to my channel. No, you grow up. This will be the third and final opening video for my TMNT figures, and it is crazy how many Turtles figures I have been sitting on. I said that this was mostly going to be comic figures, but there is a couple more figures in here. I actually just recently found the Slash and Mummy in stores, and they were figures that I wasn't gonna get, but seeing them in person, they just looked great, so I had to pick them up. I'm definitely not gonna go all in on the Universal Monsters line, but I think I am gonna get at least the 4 Turtles now. And then I do have one figure over here that is not a NECA figure. I went to Target, they had one of each of the Loyal Subjects Turtles figures, and Raph was one of the Chase variants, so I wasn't gonna go in on any of these figures, but I ended up getting him. Raph is my favorite turtle, and if it wasn't this specific Chase variant, I probably wouldn't have got it, but I'm gonna open it up and take a look. I don't have real high expectations, so I can't really be disappointed too much, but this figure, upon first inspection, does look a lot better than the first Turtles they put out. I also have my Armaggon figure in here as well, because if not now, when am I ever gonna open them up? And I don't know what I'm gonna do yet, but I know I'm gonna do something around my arcade 1-up cabinet with all my arcade figures eventually. One more thing before we start opening these figures up. Shout out to Cybertronian Collector, TJ Jazz Thomas, for reaching out to me in my opening video with my NECA Secret of the Used figures. You might have remembered me saying something that I didn't really love Raph's head sculpt, and I wish I would have went in on the accessory pack so I could have got the alternate head. Well, he reached out to me, said he didn't want his, sent him a couple bucks, covered shipping, and then he sent me this head, and I could not be happier about it. So I'm much happier with this head sculpt. I like this figure a lot more. So shout out to you again. Thank you so much, TJ, for hooking me up with this. Couldn't appreciate it anymore. So we'll get these guys cracked open, and I'll give you some of my first thoughts on these figures.
Alright, you guys, so we have everything open, and my first impressions on these figures are holy shit. So, there are some sleepers in here that I was not expecting to like so much. I knew I would like these figures, but this was my third opening for a reason. This was the one that I was the third most excited about, and after doing this opening, it's probably my favorite overall, which is weird because my other ones I like for very specific reasons. Like, I was very excited for the Secret of the Used figures to come out, and I'm still very excited about those figures. They are amazing figures, and I love Super 7 figures, so I was very excited to do those ones too. That was just a long time coming. It had just been forever since I've really gotten that many Super 7 figures at once. But from this opening alone, there are 5 figures that are going to be considered for my top 10 TMNT figures of the year. I've decided what I'm going to do for my top 10s of the year is do one for Turtles and then one for everything else. Because if I did one, even if I did a top 20 of all my figures, it would still probably be 12 to 15 Turtles figures. So I just want to keep them separate so that way I can keep it a little bit more fun for everybody. And I do have some people I know that just want to see some content that isn't Turtles content once in a while too. So I would like to make some content like that once in a while as well, because again, I love talking about Turtles, but every now and then I want to talk about something else too. First one I want to talk about is my least favorite figure that I opened. And you guys probably have an idea of what it is, and you're probably going to be wrong. So the second I opened Armaggon, the first thing I thought was, this feels like an outdated figure, and it is. After handling him for about 2 seconds, I thought that he felt exactly like a Triceraton, and sure enough, they are made from the same buck. Their thigh is exactly the same, their torsos are exactly the same, and their upper arms are the same. It's pretty much just from the calf down. There's some changes in the forearm and clearly the head sculpts and stuff like that. But these figures were manufactured at the same exact time, which was what, 2+ years ago at this point. I opened him after I opened Slash, which is what I'm going to talk about next. And it was just night and day difference, the quality in these figures. His deco is really cool. He is a cool looking sculpt. I mean, he's a fun looking figure. He's not terrible. I don't hate him by any means, but it just, NECA has come very far in the last couple of years, and they've just done such a better job with their big thick figures, and this is just kind of a relic of their past. He had very tight joints. I got them to bend. He's one that I did heat up, and he is a cool looking figure, but I don't really have any attachment to him. Definitely not worth the wait in my opinion. So I opened Armaggon right after Slash, and that really just hits home how far NECA has come in the last couple of years. Their quality is just night and day different from what it was. Their plastic feels so much better. It's so much better quality. Their figures just move so much easier and just feel so much better. In my opinion, they just look much better. Like, it's crazy the amount of improvement they made in the last couple years. My buddy Brendan said something to me that it is the same buck as the Toka figure, and I don't really have a problem with that either because the Playmates figures did the same exact thing. It makes sense, they do look pretty much exactly the same, but for whatever reason, Slash just always comes out looking so much better. And this was a figure that I didn't even have intentions of picking up. I'm not getting into the Archie line. This is the only Archie figure that I'm going to get because Slash is one of my favorite characters. The Playmates figure is my favorite Playmates figure of all time. And once I saw him in person, there was no way I wasn't going to get him. And I am not disappointed at all. He is going to be a contender for my top figures of the year. And he might be the best Slash figure. It's definitely tight between him and Super 7, and I'm going to have a lot of thoughts coming up on Super 7 here soon. But overall, very impressed with this figure. He looks amazing. I'm very happy with how he turned out. Alright, so let's take a look at this little guy here. So, these are figures I never intended to buy. I saw them at Target, and since this was the Chase variant of Raph that would be the one that I wanted, I decided to pull the trigger on him. There definitely is a lot of issues with these figures, and I'm not just going to tear it apart or anything like that, but the sculpt just gets broken up so much by the articulation. And again, it's not like these guys are expensive. They're still coming in under $20, I think. I can't even remember what I actually paid for it. But I'm not mad that I spent that money on it. He's a cool looking figure. He's not bad for what I paid for him. He's just kind of fun. His aesthetic's fun. I wouldn't have got him again if it just was the regular one, but this one with the jacket and the 3D glasses is just kind of fun. The pizza box, it does have a hinge, but it's on the wrong way, so the pizza box opens the wrong way, which is weird. Yeah, he'll probably just sit on my desk, which is where all my hodgepodge turtles are gonna sit that don't really fit in with my regular display. Probably won't get any more of these figures, but like I said, I'm definitely not mad that I spent money on this one. So Renet really has my last major complaints for these figures. She is a very nice sculpt. Her deco is very nice. She looks great, but her elbows, I can't get them to move. I heated her up, and the middle portion pretty much just turns to jelly, and I just can't get the pins to move at all. So kind of a bummer. I'm probably just going to keep her stiff like this because I'd rather just not pull her arms apart. I mean, when they get warm, it literally just feels like I could pull those pins right out of there. So it's not the greatest figure ever. She's definitely probably, I mean, I didn't really have high expectations for this figure anyway. It was one, again, if I saw it in stores, I was going to get it. I really do enjoy Mirage comics, especially that early one. And this is a fun issue with Cerebus showing up and her, and there's just a lot going on in that one. Her bendy wire cape's kind of a cool touch, and again, as far as the rest of the figure goes, she is pretty good. It's just those elbows, again, just kind of make it a broken figure. So this round of loot crates was honestly pretty lackluster. This is a pretty cool looking figure. Like, he looks pretty good. He's done pretty well. But as far as these mutant shredders go, they were in, I think, the end of one issue, and then in the next one they might have been in 3. I can't remember. They're in either 2 or 3 issues in that little 3-part mini-series, the Return to New York one. And I don't really have any complaints about him. He doesn't come with any accessories or anything, but Loot Crate exclusives are usually a little lacking in the accessories department to begin with. Again, not a bad figure or anything, just not really one that I'm super excited about. The main draw for the Loot Crates for me was Danny before I actually got him in hand, and then the animated series figures. So we're down to 4 more figures, and I already told you that Slash is going to be a contender for figure of the year. So every other figure that I talk about will be as well. So let's start off with another figure that I didn't intend to buy, and I am very, very, very glad that I did. So the only figure that I was going to get from this line was the Raph, because it's one that I decided I wasn't going to go in on because it's just at that point where I just can't collect every Turtles line that I want to collect anymore. But I saw him in store. He just looked so cool, and he looks even better out of package. The sculpting on his shell, all those hieroglyphics just look so cool. Even Lacey was like, wow, his shell looks really awesome. His little hieroglyphic nunchucks look super sweet too. And this head sculpt is just one of my favorite things in the world. Like, the Mummy one looks great. It looks exactly how it should. But this is just something special. I just can't believe that they made a head sculpt like this, and they just found the perfect figure to put it in with. It's an homage to that rotting head that was found from one of the, I can't remember if it was Secret of the Used ones or the original movie, but the styrofoam or the foam or whatever they're made out of, I definitely don't know what it is. The material that they're made out of must just start to deteriorate after a while, and it ends up looking like this crazy, creepy zombie face. And again, I know it's not a perfect fit for the Mummy. It does look more zombie-esque, but it's just so cool. I'm so glad I got this figure. I'm probably going to get Leo and the Donnie now, just so I can round out the 4 turtles. The other figures don't really do a lot for me, but the turtles figures just look amazing. I mean, NECA is killing these. This is definitely, at least the turtle figures, some of the best figures that they've done. And yeah, just a nice surprise for me. I knew he looks cool, but in hand, he looks even better than I thought he would. Alright, so you guys know I'm a huge Casey Jones fan. And this is the 4th Casey that we've gotten in these more modern premium figures. So far we've gotten the live action Casey, and I'm counting all of them just into one. And then we've got the animated series Casey, and then we got the Super 7 Casey, which is based off the Playmates figure. And now we have our Mirage Casey, and this one did not disappoint at all. I like him. I was excited for this one, but he does just, I mean, by the promo images, he didn't really look very like flashy or anything like that. He looked pretty basic, but in hand he looks great, and he's definitely gonna probably end up at least an honorable mention. I know I'm biased, but this is just a really awesome figure. I love how he looks. His accessories are really cool. They're doing a really good job with the start of this comic line for sure. I'm really excited to see where they're going with this one. I'm excited for all the figures they've already announced, and I really enjoy the Mirage comics, and I'm excited to see what else they do in this line. Alright, so we're going to kind of double dip on these Ronin figures, but they are both equally awesome. I definitely prefer the armored one a little bit better, but that doesn't take away from how good this figure is. He is a great figure as well. He just pretty much does all the same things this one does, just minus the armor and stuff like that. I knew I was going to be excited for these figures. The Playmates one turned out awesome, but these guys knocked it out of the park. He really is going to be a late contender for my figure of the year. He's going to be top 3 for sure. I don't know where he's going to end up. I am blown away by these figures. I'm going to set this guy down for now. We're just going to kind of take a look around the horn here. It's just, this is almost a perfect figure. Like, other than down on this side, they just didn't shave down that nub, so I definitely have a little QC issue there, but that's really the only problem or nitpick that I have with this figure, other than the accessory department. So they both come with different sets of accessories. They come with a couple of the same things, but they both each only come with one Tonfa, which is really annoying. So between these figures and the Playmates figures, 3 Last Ronin figures, we only have 2 Tonfas, and that's kind of the weapon that I associate with him. Yeah, he has each of the weapons from one of the brothers, but I like having them with the Tonfas. I think those look pretty sweet, and that's the way I'm going to display them. And again, this is just a beautiful figure. If you see him at Walmart or Target, he is an absolute high recommend from me. You will not be disappointed with this figure. He is beautiful, and yeah, they knocked it out of the park with this one. Alright, you guys, so closing thoughts here. Again, very surprised by how much I like these figures. There was a couple bummers here and there, but for the most part, these are some pretty great figures. Once again, NECA just killing it. I literally just talked about in the podcast how I had no complaints with NECA, so of course this Renet figure would have these issues that drove me nuts. But other than that, NECA is without a doubt my company of the year this year. They have straight killed it in every department, from their live action to the animated series to comic figures. Yeah, this was just a great couple weeks of opening up figures. I'm very excited to get my TMNT display reset. It's probably going to be a while before any more new figures come out. Chinese New Year's coming up, so it probably won't be till March until we start getting any NECA figures in hand. So yeah, that'll pretty much wrap things up for this one. Thank you guys for subscribing, commenting on my videos, trying to keep up with everything. I'm getting more and more comments. It's getting harder and harder to keep up, but I'm still doing my best. At least once a day in the morning, I try to knock out all the outstanding comments and stuff like that I have. Sometimes I don't get to the replies on those comments because the way it filters things for me on my back end, I don't see replies the same way I see a fresh comment. So again, if I miss those, it's not because I'm ignoring you. I just might be busy at the time they come up, and then they just end up getting buried in all my notifications. Thank you to all the new subscribers. Welcome to the channel, everybody. Feel free to comment and chime in with your 2 cents. Even if it doesn't align with mine, your opinion is always welcome here. So we'll be back for my 4th and final opening video for this round of openings. It'll be very X-Men heavy, but it'll have a figure from G.I. Joe, Motu, and Transformers. Stay on the lookout for more updates on the podcast. It is going to launch very, very, very soon, so be ready, guys. Take it easy, be safe, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace!